Good morning to day 148. Cloudy but sunny. Let's have a quick look what the carnage was like last night after the dark pour. Okay, seen better steps obviously. Steps in a minute. Obviously pouring concrete in the dark is never the most clever thing to do. So we'll have to do something with skim on those. They're not too bad, but we don't want just bad or average, do we? We want awesome. So I'm not too sure what the actual weather forecast is like today, but hopefully it's going to hold off. So yesterday, just recap on what actually happened. As I said, we got the first scratch coat onto the swimming pool and we got the steps done. So there we are here. Scratch coat on both sides. This bit was left because the stairs still need to be done, so the rebar boys did the rebar cage for the steps. The boxing is started. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 risers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 risers. So they'll be installed today. It'll be the same thing again as over there. It'll be setting them up, getting them poured. Now we may have to pour the whole thing as well. So rather than having some more boxing and it sitting above, the whole thing will probably be poured solid. So it's quite a large amount of concrete to go in there, believe it or not. I don't think they'll do anything else apart from around here, potentially with a scratch coat. This, as I said, the base itself is the finished, say finished, it is the base that they'll actually put the swimming pool coat onto. So they'll have to scrape that, any form of splashes of concrete they'll have to scrape off and they'll go over it. But the scratch coat is actually now the bonded area onto the side that they'll actually put the swimming pool material over the top of. We have to discuss what we're going to do with the front. We were meant to be getting a acrylic or glass edge that was going to go from here all the way up. So this piece would come out and this piece would adjoin, well, they butt to it, they don't adjoin together, but yeah, this one comes to the front glass. But we're really struggling to get the company to give us a quote and supply. So we're going to have to come up with another concept. So anybody out there that's got any ideas about what to do from Infinity Edge, I mean, apart from blocking up, obviously, and obviously rendering all round, I'm not too sure what the material we can literally use. Obviously, the Infinity Edge would be nice with glass because obviously you can see through it, but obviously we don't have, we don't have the view of the sea because of the tree. So desirable but not essential. But I think a block wall might be the only option we have at the moment, unless anyone else that's watching has any great ideas. So, creative juices, let me know. In here, yesterday we finished the beam, the L-shaped 2 foot up here. But what we discussed is, in order to pour that, it needs to, you can't pour concrete separate, otherwise you have a cold joint. So what we ideally need to do is to extend this way slightly and extend that way to the end of the column. That way we can box all of that, box this piece and pour that in one lump. And then here, this is going to have a 4 foot beam put in here. So we could knock that concrete back and tie that 4 foot into this piece and have a cold joint here. Better to have a cold joint there than on the back in that corner. Same on this side. They were going to pour that last night, which I made them hold off on. I'm not too sure they would have enough concrete anyway. But again, same thing where they boxed around the extension to the living area. Here they've extended the beam along, so you can just see the rebar poking out the end, and then they've obviously gone up. So I'll show you what I mean. The garage roof dictates the level of in here. So this is the garage. The garage roof is obviously going to go out. All of the starter bars are going to go out and go into the roof that way. But obviously the bathroom itself is like the rest of the house. It's going to be 12 foot, and initially that's just over 8. So they were going to pour that beam there, which goes across the front window here into the house beam. But again, you've got the same problem. If you don't extend that beam over and again that way, then you're not having a cold joint in that corner. So I asked them to hold off on pouring that and that last night, so we can actually extend the beam out to the end and probably go 2, 3, 4 foot that way, and then we can actually connect the 4 foot into that. So they weren't too sure why last night, but I'm pretty sure that was the right thing to do. So I'll talk to the rebar guys today and then just confirm that my decision to hold off and change was the right decision. I'm pretty sure it is, because cold joints are an absolute nightmare to deal with, and you don't want them in the wrong place. So what you don't want them doing is being on the outside of a corner. If I have them on the inside, yeah, it's not ideal anyway, but having them on the inside here is better than having them on the outside of the corner. So both ends basically will be completely watertight, whereas if there's a cold joint in the middle, then it allows moisture and whatever to come through, especially on this corner, because this corner itself has actually got all the wind and everything coming this way. So I think it's definitely the right decision. Once they've obviously poured that, obviously they can then start going up in height, and they can also start coming this way. So when we pour that beam, we'll also do what we're doing on this one, which was we'll actually spin it around. So when we pour this, obviously we'd be pouring 4 foot here, we'll be pouring all of this, we'll be pouring all of that beam right to the very end of the other side, we'll be pouring this return, and then on the other side in the living area there'll be a further return, which is obviously the front of the house. So we'll then pour that return as well. So cross over to there along, and then obviously all the other connections into it as well. That's the way I see it. We need to open this up again today, get some more air down there, get more brushing going on down there. I'm sure there's still a lot to do down there. The beam for the middle of the house at the back is now going in. Our pile of wood's right smack bang in the middle, which is a pain in the arse. So probably going to end up having to take this piece at least out and try and get another 2 acros in here and another one at those 2 as tight as possible. So at least then we'll have 5 along here. That should be fine. We could probably leave that wood where it is. But if not, we'll have to move all of that as well. So this beam itself was meant to be going up, as is this one. When I say up, inside the ceiling would be flush, and on the roof you would see a 6-inch slab, but then a 6-inch beam coming up out of the ground. But what we decided to do with this one is keep this one down, which means the roof will be flush and the ceiling, it will come down 6 inches from the ceiling, because on this actual line itself from here there's actually a wall going through here. It's an internal suspended partition wall, so it's only going to be about 5 to 6 inches wide, and that will be 8 inches plus mortar. So we'll probably have to box this one out, but at least it will be coming down, we can box up to it, so it's actually straight across a support in the house anyway, so we can hide that. And that also then means that we've got 3 gutters. We've got one here, we've got one here, and we got one over there. Obviously if we put this beam going upwards, then we land up having one side with 2 gutters and one side with 1, which is also another issue. So it enables us to have 3 gutters working in partnership rather than 2 and 1. So that was the decision behind doing it. The carpenters did it from the drawing, and I said it's meant to be going up, but then after thinking about it, it made a bit more sense to keep it as it is. This is what it sporadically does. It will just rain and then stop. Fingers crossed it won't be doing that all day, and fingers crossed it will stop. Other than that, today we do need to make the use of the excavator and try and get the actual digging out sorted. Sorry, I'm not going to look at the camera. Last night it was being used heavily to pour the concrete in here. So last night, as you saw on the camera, it was lifting the concrete up and it was trying to pour manually through here. So not exactly the most delicate of ways of doing it, but it certainly saved a lot of man hours and man spines lifting concrete, that's for sure. But it was bloody noisy and it could have been done a lot earlier, that's for sure. So hopefully the neighbours are okay. That's one thing I don't think contractors here really don't care. There's a job to be done and it's going to get done. They really don't care about anybody around them, bless them. So the neighbours obviously do feel for them. Even when you try and ask them to just bear them in mind, they sort of look at you and smile and wave. So today, what the task is today, obviously we got a little bit backfilled yesterday, so this has been concreted in, although it shouldn't have been done before the manhole's been built. The manhole's been taken up. We need to make that hole bigger and put the concrete base lower, and then we need to get the excavator in, one to lift up the actual septic tank itself and reset it, but also to dig this out and get the right fall on here as well. So these pipes coming this way have been connected. This one now has been concreted in, although it should have been waited until the manhole was done, and the other one's been backfilled as well. and he's also at the same time pushed a bit of soil over the back as well. So certainly not finished, that's for sure, but a little bit more room towards getting that sorted. Sorry about the wind. And on this side we still haven't done the front drainage yet for obvious reasons. Obviously we're using the driveway quite a lot, so at the moment we don't actually have the time. Hi, morning. We don't have the time or the ability to be digging this up at the moment, so it really does need to be done sooner rather than later, because we need to finalise this. As you can see, we have one pipe in and nothing drilled yet, so the hole is on the side, marked out, waiting to go. And then we need to obviously run it straight across the driveway here at the right fall into the first manhole. So we've got 2 manholes to sort out up here. The line's been drawn on the wall, so we do need to look at getting that done, but the plumber just seems to be Scarlet Pimpernel. He turns up when he feels like it. So from my point of view, you know, he's either got to deal with it or we've got to find another plumber. But he's been like it since day one on the job, really. It's probably one of the most important parts of the job, but they seem to sort of come in, do a bit, disappear, come in, do a bit, disappear. My concern is if he's going to take that attitude when you start doing the first and second fix, finishing the first fix, going into the second fix, then that's not going to work. As it is, he's held us up a few times because he's not got his stuff sorted. So we need to discuss and make a decision this weekend about whether we're going to continue or reevaluate. So the stairs, obviously we can take the formwork off these guys today. It's definitely going to be so we can stand on it, but as you can see, this is what you get when you do it in the dark. Not a great finish, that's for sure. I don't really want to be in a situation where I'm putting another set of plaster on top to finish it off, but it looks like that's what we're going to have to do. But anyway, they're operational. We can discuss what we're going to do with them afterwards, whether we put something with covering over them or we put another skim on them, or and some what we can end up doing. And then we can also discuss whether we keep the steps where they are and bring the soil to level, or whether we add another few steps down to the actual beach itself. So we'll see. I mean, I would have thought this is going to be the level, and we'll slightly grade it up towards here, maybe to about 2 foot on that wall, and then take that through the side return. I think that's probably what we'll do. So we'll put another couple of steps added to that. Also, we need to get these manhole covers up today. There's like a little key, 4 keys that go into the corner. We need to get those pulled up and start getting them breathing, because we need to get the formwork and the jacks that are supporting the patio downstairs, need to get them up. And we've also got to get the rest of the formwork out of here at some stage today as well, because that is still lingering around in there. It's obviously needs to be swept out and made good as well. So I think I'll get all the labourers up together and get them doing a bit of housekeeping first thing this morning to get this place a little bit more structured, and then off the back of that, then we can have a bit of a plan about what we're going to do for the day. But at the moment, it's sort of meeting with the rebar boys, making sure they got a bit of a plan. So the middle wall here, as you can see, has been boxed on the outside now, so that's ready for the guys to put the steel in. That steel can go in. The front steel can go in. I think they want the boxing in, and they want to be able to lower their steels in, which is a bit of a weird one. Normally they have the outside box like that, they install it and then they come and box it in. But I think what they want to try and do is make their cages and then just lower it in at one piece. And I also need to talk to them about making sure that they adjust and edit the starter bar situation on the front door. As we discussed, are we going to go 8 foot? We're going to go 12 foot. At the moment, the steel itself that's there is on the beam, on the ring beam, which is 8 feet. So I'll probably get that taken out and get that raised up to the 12 feet. And then thanks to everybody for their responses on the door. The general response is a bit 50-50 really, 12 foot or 8 foot. Some people have said 8, some people have said 12. Some people have said with glass, some people have said without glass. So at the moment there doesn't seem to be a categoric it needs to be. But my personal preference is, I think light's quite important and 12 foot's quite important. So I need to try and think how I can merge those two together. 12 feet and glass. So it's either glass in the door, which I'm not too sure what effect that will have on the look of the door. So I think the best thing to do is to start looking at door art, door ideas. So anybody got any great pictures of a big, tall door with some form of light function in it, let me know. I think that's what we need to consider. There's going to be a lot of light down there anyway, obviously, don't forget. There's going to be a lot of light coming through here. As you can see the light this morning, this is coming through the front of the building. Obviously, there's no roof at the moment, but obviously the sun comes down and comes through the actual front of the building here. So a lot of light comes through, and at the very end of the hallway here, as you've seen, we've got a 6 foot by 8 foot window. So 6 foot wide, 8 foot tall, nice bit of glass going in there. This will be open, this will be closed, so obviously that light will be shut off. So again, it's quite dark down there. By the time you add a doorway to here, it will be a lot darker down here, that's for sure. So the other option obviously is some form of ceiling lights, you know, ceiling glass. Could be an option. Not a lantern, but something that's, you know, flat and square maybe. Bit of glass going through the middle. Obviously that will create quite a bit of heat. But that's another option. So glass here, opening for light here, some form of lantern through the middle with a blocked up door. Could be another option. Anyway, that's pretty much it for now. Obviously it's only 20 to 8, so there's still no one, certainly no one working at the moment anyway. Everyone's starting to turn up. But it was a late one last night, so knowing these guys, there'll be a few people coming late. Need to get these columns obviously sealed today as well, so another thing I need to get the guys to do. Need to get the wetcrete, I think they call it. I need to get that installed today. And finish getting downstairs out, swept, and all the stuff out. That's something we definitely need to do. So I'll check in throughout the day. So 10 o'clock, one thing I haven't really done is giving you a little bit of an overview downstairs in the basement area where the facilities are coming in. As you can see, this is natural light coming through the air conditioning holes, plus the main entrance. So there's one there, look, for instance. So you get quite a bit of light down there actually. So we'll have to think about whether we utilise some of them for that purpose. But anyway, let me show you what's coming through. So on this wall, that's the electrical elements coming through. It will come straight up here and through the holes in the ceiling. Now the formwork's down, you can see where all these electrical conduits will meet and go through. So we've got some conduit trunking coming through here, some here, some here. That's the electrical room facing the foyer. And then you've got these pipes coming through, which are blocked at the other side at the moment due to the concrete, but that's where air conditioning, the mains water, gas lines, etc. They will all come through here, and obviously depending on what they are, they'll obviously come up the wall and deviate off as well. Coal going through that way to go into the garage, and this is where the mains water's coming in at the moment. We're hoping or looking to probably put the immersion water tank heater here. Yeah, I would say probably that's where the best route's going to be for it. The mains water coming through, hot water here. This is where the water runs. It's not going to do that, obviously, but hot and cold water feeds will run all the way around the actual roof. I was told that there was actually a hole going through the beam for the water, which is clearly not there, so that's not good. And that needs to go around and tuck itself all the way up around the outside. But I'm not seeing holes through the beam like I was told there would be. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. But what I don't want is pipework looking like this, you know, at eye level. It needs to be up against the ceiling out the way. So hopefully we can do that. Obviously there's holes everywhere. This is one of the main air conditioning slots that will go up through the kitchen wardrobe, kitchen cupboard, sorry. And then what we're doing is just sporadically keeping some of the jacks down here, because obviously what's going to happen at some stage is we're going to put more weight on the floor upstairs when the roof comes on, so it'll be more weight bed on top of the floor above. So we just want to make sure that there's enough support down here. One of the common things they put, planks of wood on the floor with nails everywhere. Absolutely unbelievable. I keep telling them not to do it, but they still continue. Charlie's painfully digging up the concrete, splashes from upstairs. And then the guys down here are doing the same in the storage area. It's still wet down here, which has to get sorted out, but they're putting jacks throughout here to try and support the upstairs patio. And then we have to do the same next door as well. So at the moment, this is just trying to take some of the weight whilst it's still curing off of the actual the main ground floor itself. So yeah, that's down here. So I'll give you a little bit more insight to it. The plumbers are now trying to start running the waste, etc. through the walls, as you can see. We've got these breather holes have been put around as well, 4-inch tubes all the way around just to try and get some ventilation coming through. And then this is what they do, they literally bang holes in, run drainage down into the cavities. And obviously then punch out the other side for waste, etc. So there's a few that are along here. Some are mistakes, some are to be used. This is the main bedroom upstairs. This is the ensuite bathroom, so as you can see, there's a sink waste, another sink waste. Then you've got the main toilet, you've got the shower traps, etc. So all of that will run over to here, then go through the wall and go out. That's the plan anyway. And there's the support columns we've had to put through. So this is what we've had to put through to try and keep the house up in the air, and to ensure that we don't actually have walls, beams and columns all through. And then this will be the staircase to come down. Okay, 1:30. Give you a quick rundown what's going on since the last time we recorded. Okay, so we've got the steps actually going in as we speak to the pool. Hell of a lot of concrete. Tie beams being finished off by the steel benders at the top, which is pretty cool. The boxing for these massive door fronts, they're being manufactured as we speak here. They've got to be big and solid. They'll also have two, as far as where they'll have 2 layers of plywood as well to try and support above. And what we're going to do, as I said yesterday, we're going to try and tie all the beams in across here. And we'll pour all of it at the same time to prevent any cold joints, and then the 4-foot beam will be manufactured separately. Junior, the truck driver, is out there moving mud, doing a bit of landscaping. And also, he's been in the pipe, he's been in the hole over there, digging that out, breaking through the rock. There's rock all the way along to the septic tank, so he's been over there with the little Kango tooth, as I call it. He's been in there drilling away, annoying the neighbours. Footings for the walls and the steps have been put in. We're going to be knocking the wall down on the side, as I've said before, making this into an L shape. So that will give a 2-door piece over there. Door piece? Okay, I'll have a look, hang on. This one's got to be redone across here. Footings will be poured, block walls will then be erected up after that. Then we've got to get the septic tank reset. What else do we have? Front of the house, the carpenters are working on the front. Getting the formwork put all the way across. This beam here is going to be put right across as well. It should be up in the ceiling. And then we've actually starting to get some of the formwork going over as we speak. And then a beam there. Oh, you're live, Tyson. Did you say, have I had dinner already, did you say? So what he said was, is the footing done? Of course it is. Of course it is. So in here, these boys are actually doing the formwork that's going to go across. So this will now be, at some stage, cladded up. The ply sheets will go over the top of that, and then we'll go up from there, and that becomes the new and yet another set of flooring to rebar. Exact same as the ground floor and the basement. That's what's going to happen across here. So the beam itself, as you can see, if I show you quickly, beam that's going to go through in the middle here, which we've seen already, forms the start of it. So that will box up and then straight across. So it should be 12 foot 4 1/4 to the very top, giving us a 12-foot ceiling height. Beams tied into the corner. Downstairs is a lot more empty now. We still need to sweep up down there now. Had a little bit of rain earlier. But yeah, sweeping up down there. We need to find out how the guys are getting on down there, make sure that's being managed properly. The beams are being tied across where Ricky is now. These boys are obviously tasked with doing the whole over, and these boys are doing the actual front support columns. So yes, we are seeing light. I'm not seeing the end of the tunnel, but we're seeing light, that's for sure. More carpenters, more concrete, and another 3 hours left of the afternoon. So Let's see what we can smash in by the finish. Trying to get the tank out. So we're trying to lift one end first to let the sand go in, so that we can actually then strap it across the middle. But they're not really designed to be lifted by the two ends. They're glued together, base, top, fiberglass together, so pulling it by the top is not ideal. You should really have a strap through here and here all the way around, but obviously we can't get to it because it's in the sand, so I've dug out as much as I can around it. Okay, so it's coming up. Okay, so I think now it'll probably be better off somehow trying to take the pressure on both inlet and outlets. The downside to that is with one strap it comes into the middle, which puts pressure on the lip. So in an ideal world you want one coming up like that, another one coming up and something going across to support. So I'm not too sure how we're going to do that, but at least it's out of a little suction sand gap now. Going to lose Tyson into the hole. It's like Lauren Hardy. So it looks okay. It's a shame that we can't actually get that strap onto there, because obviously it puts pressure on the lids. But we need to do something like that, so let's see what we can do next.
Left, right. That's what I show you. Left. Easy. That's all right.
That's it. At least it's up now. Now they've got it out, the best thing to do is probably put the harness hoops onto here, centralise it and lift it centrally. What's he doing that one? This is going to work. No, it's got to go in the eye. Pedro, it's got to go back on the eye. That's it. Sure what he's done there, but anyway. So once he gets the wood biting, we need to get them out of there. I think they're fixated a little bit too much on the wood now. I think now that it's actually out of the ground, we can just rely on the lid, the strap of the lid to pull up. I think what we should have done really is undone that, just had it going through in a loop into the middle and just lift it centrally.
That way we know you to hear you want me and go and play, but you want to go together. And you do the boss here. I want to go with me now.
So what's the plan then?
You can do the same thing here over there.
For nothing.
And lift that one a little. And then this here might break. This here might break.
What the break?
Every go for now,
Listen to me, listen to me.
Every go.
Andy, listen to me.
Every go for now.
Andy, listen to me now. Come on, man. You can put that in the cutting. And we get the shot. What you doing?
Because this here, any pressure is stronger than this here. It's stronger than this. This is stronger than this. Break this. Come.
Nah.
You're not lifting from there.
Come, the man.
Get up here.
I got exactly. Lord, I ain't got to fucking
What's your head? What doing?
What the fucking hate, big
It's actually comical. You wouldn't get to do half these things in the UK, but for the health and safety. So as much as they do fuck up every now and then, at least you can rectify it with fun.
No.
Okay, so it looks like they're doing the same thing again, but we'll probably put the strap around this time.
Hold. I want you to pass off.
Good? So come over, Junior, a little bit. Andy, get back of there.
Slow, man. Stop.
Mine. Mine. Glad he knows what he says.
Relax.
Okay, now let's strap it in the middle now. Okay, so now's the time to get the strap through the middle, in the middle, and pull the whole thing out. Yeah.
Right there is right. I ain't watch squeeze the ears. That. It's that. You got me?
So what's the plan now? Under. You can go under now, yeah? We can go under now. Yeah. 2 straps under, yeah? You get 2 straps under there.
Are you getting shot?
Yeah.
Where is the note?
Both straps, yeah?
Go up another fraction.
Everybody with you.
Nobody with you, baby.
What the other one? Guys, I won't ask no.
You don't fucking hold on. You won't give a minute. I hit the fucking beer up with the hole. You ready, baby?
You get our strap for you, aren't you? The other strap is?
There.
Go up.
Hold on.
Fucking move.
Use the hoe.
You can see it.
Listen to me, hold on.
Look.
Why don't we get this rough over there? No, get this
We're gonna get it through, yeah. Get the hoe. Behind you, Andy, behind you, get the hoe. Just push it through.
This rough over there.
I'm fishing through.
And fish it through. But if that come down, I got weight, I can hurt you.
Yep.
When you can get at it, if you can get at it.
He can push it through, fine. Where's that water? Oh, that's in the hill, isn't it? That's right. I was thinking, where's all that water coming from? All this aggro and loads of water.
Listen, me gonna get you wrapped and come.
Yeah. Let go, and.
Let me see.
You see it?
In there, yeah, in there. If I'm wrong.
Do you want it in water? Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Get away. Get away. Get away. Get away.
It's comical.
There you go.
Okay, so we've now got a strap through this side, a strap through that side. I'm going to lower this down a little bit. Then we've got to use the chain to go through these two and the other two. Out of the ground. Might even bury it with straps around it this time, so I'll be able to take it up. It's already pre-done. Although I'm not too sure what straps you can put in the ground and bury that can get wet and dirty and aren't going to rot. Something well worth thinking about, that's for sure. Get it down. Okay, so they're going to do that. So we've now got to dig this out by about 10 inches. So I think we're going to have to do is pull a line now from over there straight over to here, and then work out how much of a fall we need, plus the soil, sand and stone, and then hopefully we should have the actual fall we need. Well done, Junior. Okay, so have a quick update then. So it's 4:20 Friday. Everyone wants to get the hell out of here. I don't blame them. Let's have a quick film as to where the updates are, where things are, and where things have been done. Let's have a quick look. So, first things first, we're up on the patio. A little bit more order when it comes down to the wood stock. Wish it was wood stock. Steps have been done first. Not the prettiest steps I've ever seen, but all that is the infrastructure. Then obviously the pool plaster will go over everything. So a lot of concrete in there, believe it or not. I mean, here 4 foot down to obviously ground level. A lot of concrete in there. Obviously we saw the steps last night. They've not been finished off because that's it. We're letting them dry for a little bit longer. Not the prettiest, but again they'll have a skim. Didn't get the actual manholes open. Do need to do that tomorrow. More of the formwork and everything downstairs brought upstairs, so a little bit more of a structure as to what wood we've got, how many planks, etc. Need to detail that because sometimes it has a habit of going missing. Beams installed, tied in. We've not done the front parts yet, but they're in. And the internal boxing for the internal walls has gone up as well. Before we go into the house and check out there, let's have a look down here. We've now got the septic tank up, as you've seen the drama, and they're now about to do the concrete base over there. Footings have been done here for the side wall for the steps that are going to come up to this pad, as have they over here. The next stage for that over here obviously is to cut and break out the wall there and join the wall and build the wall here as well as over this other side as well. So that's there, that's that for there. In the house, these boys have been busy building the boxing that's actually going to go above the columns here. As you can see, 2 lots of ply and a very small, thin, sturdy beam. That is going to hold a hell of a lot of weight. So that will be put up in place tomorrow with acros. So we're going to have to logistically work out what's got to be done before they go in, because we will be restricted. The boys back here have been busy. Busy day. So they've got half of it actually 4x2'd already. Again, once the bigger jacks come, the jacks go up underneath. Once the jacks are underneath, then they can start putting the plywood down. So that'll be done pretty quick. So that's that for this side. And again, tomorrow they'll do the rest. So we'll be ready for rebar this weekend for the front, and then we'll be ready for them to pretty much get up there and get the beams lowered in and start coming across Saturday afternoon into Sunday. Then the guys will come into the front and start here, but obviously they can't start until these beams are boarded out and the formwork's put in. Once that formwork's in, they can go up and they can go across. So again, they'll put the beams in here probably, and then the external skin will go on so that all this can be poured. So this will all be poured, I would have thought, pretty sure this will all be poured with the roof. So we've got a beam to go across here, which you know, and that's going to protrude up, and the beam at the back is the one that's protruding down, and that's the one that's going through this piece here. As you can see, it's already boxed up and that's ready to go. What else? Rebar boys have been out there busy manufacturing stuff. But I say they have actually finished off the beam here, tied it in at that end, connected up here with the starter beams in place, connected that end as well, put the starter beams there as well. So they're pretty much good to go on that. That is ready to be boxed up and poured. Ford and the boys here have been doing the front beam. They're pretty much near on ready to be done. They're just double skinning as we speak. Yeah, so it's going to take a few people to lift those up into place, and then they'll be fixed in straight into the block wall. Tomorrow we'll be taking the formwork of here last night, as you saw in the video yesterday. That was an absolute headache. So this needs to be tidied up tomorrow, swept out. Everything needs to be stripped off around the sides, all the way down here, so we can actually see good or bad pour. They did use a vibrator, thank God, so fingers crossed it should be okay. But until you take off, you really don't know what the damage is. We just need to generally get some housekeeping done tomorrow. So that's the first thing we've done, and they still have not taken that beam out. We need that beam removed. So we're going 12-foot door in here now, as we keep saying, so we'll get that removed as soon as possible. And the plumbers today downstairs actually started doing some of the waste into the walls, which is good news. So fingers crossed that's all started as well. We need to get the air conditioning boxes put back on again and get the hatch covered up, because the rain is a coming. Don't know how bad it's going to be tonight, but you never know. And it has to be a slight downpour and it just ruins everything. So get those put back down. The light and the air is essential once you're working down there, but when you're not, they need to be covered up. Other than that, we are nearly close of play for day 148. I always forget the bloody days. In paradise, as the sun goes down across the coconut trees. What an amazing sight.